Remember, today we have been talking about the defection of Ned Nwoko, who is a senator under the platform of the People's Democratic Party, now defecting to the APC and other defections in Delta State, Nigeria. And now to join me on this program here, not alone, I have in the studio my colleague, Marvelous Ekwe. Good morning, Marvelous.
Good morning, Silas.
You're welcome. How's today?
Fine, thank you.
All right. Now, as we talk about issues of defections and also as we continue to move through the program this morning, we will have an insight into what is going on today on Quest Television. And so also to join us here, we have someone who's going to be joining us virtually this morning to talk to the story on the discussion today is someone who is an aide to the senator in office. Now, before we go to that here, Marvelous Ekwe, what is your own, maybe like a little reflection on this defection in Delta State, Nigeria?
Well, it's quite interesting that we've had so many of this in Delta State lately. Not just Delta State, in Nigeria. It's been the usual thing, defections. I remember we had a guest on the show one time talk about how for Nigerians it's mostly about their personal gains, it's not about political parties where you're supposed to have someone be in a political party and just be there instead of just wanting to go to other political parties.
Okay. Well, let's try to see how that moves forward. Now, quickly, we shall be talking to one of our own. I mean, talking about someone who is actually directly involved into that. We'll be talking about the Chief of Staff to Senator Prince Ned Nwoko, the Delta North Senatorial District. He's the one who's going to be joining us here, Dr. Michael Nwoko, who is the Chief of Staff to the Honorable Senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So we'll try to see if we have the connection for us to talk to the Chief of Staff to the Senator here on the program this morning. Now we have Dr. Michael Nwoko already there. Dr. Michael, good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear. Good morning.
Right. Thank you very much and happy new month to you.
Same to you.
Okay. Now, we have had this story, you know, that talking about Senator Ned Nwoko has been a very, very interesting discussion because he has been someone who is a member of the PDP for quite a while. Now, the defection and all that, we had a lot of rumor, but thank God you are here today. Now, what do you think is the primary reason why there is this defection from the PDP to the APC?
Yes, thank you so much for that question. Yes, I agree with you that this issue of defection in Delta State has been a front runner of daily discourse. This is largely due to the personality or personalities involved. My boss, distinguished Senator Sen.Ned Nwoko'S you know, is a political colossus. And so that is why his defection from the People's Democratic Party to the All Progressive Congress APC. Now, I say he is a political colossus because of his resounding contributions towards the integration of Delta North Senatorial District and Nigeria at large. Now, since he came on board as the single senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria in 2023, you will agree with me that really he has been in a hurry to deliver his campaign promises to the people of Delta North Senatorial District. And so he has been able to clearly spell out people-oriented projects, programs, and policies with which to impact on the people. And so, yes, you will agree with me that under the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999, as amended, for you to be able to seek for an position, you need to belong to a political party. Really is supposed to be in line with your political and philosophical leanings. But when things begin to go wrong and you realize that at some point that the political party that you belong to is beginning now to deviate from its core mandate, its manifesto and clear-cut agenda with which to impact on the people, what do? Then you have to begin to ask questions as to whether to proceed and undermine your ability to deliver on your campaign promises, or you take a very critical decision to align with a political family that conforms to your political and philosophical leanings. This is precisely what distinguished Senator Sen.Ned Nwoko'S has done, because during the electionary campaign process, I'm sure you were with us, and you would realize how we campaigned as a political family. At that time, the PDP family was one big political family. We did campaign across the 98 wards in the senatorial district, alongside with all the candidates. The deputy governorship candidate who is from Delta North, the House of Rep candidates from Delta North, House of Assembly candidates from Delta North, etc. We went to communities as well to campaign. And so it was expected that after the elections, and when it comes to governance, that the family were meant to work in collaboration to ensure that they deliver the dividends of democracy to the people in line with the clear-cut agenda and manifesto of the political party. But, for whatever reason, we don't really know. We now realize that the government order or the states now began to treat the distinguished senator with so much disdain. To us, it was a shock. When we began to see the signal, we felt, well, that things could get better. And that made the distinguished senator really to persevere. And he began to reach out. Because this is after the elections. He had been in touch with His Excellency the Governor alongside other political leaders and all other elected officers in the senatorial district. He had called for meetings with House of Assembly members elected, House of Rep members elected. He had been in touch with a view to harmonizing programs and policy for the good of the people. But again, like I said earlier, we began to notice a lot of resistance on the part of the government order. He brought ideas to the table, ideas with which to really transform the senatorial district, which is in line with his solemn campaign promises to the people. But to realize that most of these ideas really were dismissed. And that, to us, it's really a surprise, because we know that when it comes to governance and when it comes to issues that borders on the welfare of the people, one is not meant to politicize such issues, because you see, these people are in their need. The people who are elected, these officers are in their need of this program to have a new life. And how can it be said that a senator who is elected under the platform of a political party cannot work harmoniously with members of his political family to deliver dividends of democracy to the people? Really is absurd if that does not happen, because a distinguished senator is meant to be corporately involved in the process of governance. Because
Dr. Michael, can you hear me?
To the decision, very critical decision that the distinguished senator took.
Yes, loud and clear. Now, you talked about the situation where that the senator has some campaign promises and there has been some sort of resistance. Will you say that this resistance coming from the political party or the governor?
Yeah, they are intertwined. When I say resistance from the government order, they are intertwined. Those who are elected to serve at the state level, His Excellency the Governor, etc., they are all members of the PDP. We expected that they were meant to work harmoniously with the distinguished senator, who has got very bright and intelligent ideas with which to impact on the people of Delta North Senatorial District. And so he was faced with resistance. I could now recall instances where he had several meetings, a situation whereby anytime he comes into the state, he felt that, costly demands that he reaches out to His Excellency the Governor. And he was doing that with precision. There was no time the distinguished senator arrived Delta State without, putting up a call to His Excellency the Governor to provoke meetings that borders on the welfare of the people. You see, governance requires collaborative efforts. No one can work in isolation. And it's expected that ideas are meant to be harmonized. That is why you have the federal lawmaker, and of course the state elected officers. The whole idea is for there to be a meeting point, because the federal lawmakers are meant to be the liaison between the state and the federal government. They work in order to attract, federal projects, programs and policies from the federal government to the state, etc., so that these efforts can eventually corroborate, with the efforts, of the state government. And the whole idea is to bring about melodramatic changes, in the state.
Some mandates, and we're beginning to deviate from these mandates. Could you expatiate on some of these mandates? Can you tell us a little about these deviations? You said they began to deviate from their original mandates. Can you tell us a little about these deviations?
Well, let me just take you through the trend of events. When the distinguished senator he did promise the people of Delta North Senatorial District that he was going to attract people-oriented projects. One of them is the completion of the Obashuku Dam. That dam, yes, he conceptualized the idea when he was in the House of Reps from 1999 to 2003. At that time, he brought in the Koreans, the bid feasibility studies. It was originally meant to be sited at Aniofu in Aniocha local government area, but it was eventually now relocated to Obashuku. Now, the dam has been completed through a federal government agency, the Wuna River Basin Development Authority. Water impounded. What is left is the water reticulation component, which is the responsibility of the state government. And so the distinguished senator, the moment he came on board, he engaged with the relevant MDs, Ministry of Water Resources. He engaged with the Honorable Minister of Water Resources, both verbally and, of course, officially as well in writing. And then he wrote back to confirm that the water reclamation component of that dam is the responsibility of the state government. And the distinguished senator did not stop at that. He engaged His Excellency the government, wrote to the state government to carry out their responsibility as far as that project is concerned, so that that project, if the water reclamation component is completed, could guarantee effective water distribution to over 69 communities in Delta North Senatorial District. You'll agree with me that the people of the area had suffered, acute water supply problems over the years. And you can imagine the impact, of this Obashuku Dam being completed. That is just one of them. Now, talking about the Okbai, that's the IPP electricity step down project in Okbai. Many years ago, under President Olusegun Obasanjo, when that project was conceptualized, there was like a JV agreement between the host community, Nigeria Ajib company, now Owando, and of course the federal government. The whole idea was to step down 100 megawatts of electricity from national grid, and if that happens, that can guarantee absolute reliable power to the entire Delta North Senatorial District. This has not been done for some obvious reasons, and the main reason really is funding. So when the distinguished senator came on board, he engaged relevant MDs. He engaged the Honorable Minister of Power. He engaged the Managing Director of Transmission Company of Nigeria in order to bring that project to fruition. Now, whilst doing that, the distinguished senator thought it wise to also engage His Excellency the Governor to see how the state government can be part of it. Because if the project is completed and there is absolute reliable power to the entire Delta North Senatorial District, the federal government will not take the credit alone. But this project is domiciled in the state, and so the state has a role to play. It got to a point wherein the distinguished senator engaged investors from outside the country who were willing to invest on that project, who were willing to bring in funds to deliver on the project with a guarantee that there will be a return for their investment. He made this presentation to His Excellency the Governor. But most of these ideas, when he puts them on the table, usually they are dismissed for whatever reason we don't know. And he has the mandate of the people to deliver. You see, these are legacy projects that, if completed, will leave an indelible mark, not only for the federal government, but of course on the part of the government order in the states. I can go on and on. Even when he attracted the sports facility project in Anyocha North local government area as part of his constituency project, we knew the sort of resistance that we faced from the local government chairman at that time, who told the distinguished senator, even after he had agreed to provide, land within the premises of the local government, he told us to go back and resolve issues. He told the distinguished senator that he's not going to do anything until he goes back to resolve issues with His Excellency the government. And this is a project actually that is capable of impacting on the people. You know what such sports facility project can do in terms of at least engaging the youth. It is a mini sports project, mini stadium project with all the facilities, etc. So we went on and on and on until, in fact, the agency of government where that project was domiciled was almost running out of patience. In fact, that project was almost being revoked, and the funding arrangement, returned to the coffers, of the government. Not until, the honorable member representing the Delta State, the Anyocha North constituency, the Delta State Assembly came to the rescue and provided, a venue through the Delta State Sports Commission at the Ogwashiku Stadium, where the project is being sited right now. And that project is built for commissioning within the next few weeks. You see, resistance of this nature really should be avoided because it's all about.
Can you hear us? Hello? Yes? Yes, what
I
would you say about
it looks
maybe
like
some
the network
members
is
of the
kind of
PDP
poor,
feeling,
but I can hear you.
Feeling probably used by some of these political party aspirants, knowing how PDP is in the state, so it's easy to just be a part of the PDP, get your mandate, and then you leave the PDP. If he had contested probably with the APC, do you think he would have become the senator for the senatorial district, or he probably, just these issues, did they come up just after within just 1 year of him being in office, or it's always been there and he just wanted to get the ticket, win the election, and then go to the APC? What do you think about that?
Well, as a prelude, to my presentation, I did inform that up until the electionary campaign process, the relationship between the distinguished senator and other party leaders, and of course candidates that also went through the campaign, was very, very cordial. I stated it, and so we campaigned as one big family. Campaign across the 98 wards in the senatorial district, across all the communities in the senatorial district as one big family. We worked together, and we had this expectation that when it comes to governance, that we're also supposed to work together. But, we began to observe this drift, this sort of resistance, to the distinguished senator after he was inaugurated as a senator. In fact, at the point of inauguration, they were working harmoniously because I recall that the inauguration ceremony that was organized at the senatorial district, in fact, at the country home of the distinguished senator in Idumujumuku, to be precise, was well attended by the government order. Excellency, the governor was there, the deputy governor was there, the House of Assembly members, local government chairmen, etc. It was well attended. It was a carnival. It was a congregation of the creme de la creme in the society. Are you getting? And so, if you even listen, if you go back to the speech delivered by His Excellency the Governor, and of course the distinguished senator and all that spoke, at that time, everything seems to be working, very well, in line with the expectations. And we had these high hopes that relationship, that cordial relationship was going to continue. But at some point, things began, to drift, from the usual expectation, etc. At that time, like I said, anytime he comes to the Delta, he reaches out to His Excellency the Governor. I realized that, yes, by protocol ranking, His Excellency the Governor is, number one in the state before the senator, etc. And he realized that, which is the reason why he reaches out at all times. Several meetings were held, but at some point, things began to drift, really. And the single senator, felt he really endured for a very long time. But at some point, he realized that, no, things cannot continue like this because he has the mandate of the people. He has made solemn campaign promises, and he's bound, to deliver promptly and above board on these promises that he has made to the people. And so he now needed to align with a political family that can guarantee, his ability to deliver on these campaign promises. This lent credence to his resignation from the People's Democratic Party and, of course, defection to the APC.
All right. Thank you very much, Dr. Michael Nwoko, for this elaboration so far. Now, the next question we want to talk about here is the impact of the defection of Sen.Ned Nwoko to the PDP at the state and the national level. And maybe do you think does this defection and opens room for exodus or mass defection from PDP to other political parties, given the fact that Ned Nwoko has been into the PDP for quite a long time? Now, what impact does this have to the party in the state and the national level?
Tremendous impact, I would say. The single senator, President Nwoko, is one of the founding members of the People's Democratic Party. He has been a member since 1999. Personally, I have been a member of the People's Democratic Party since 1999, since the days of my studentship, in the university, beginning at that time. And so this decision, it's regrettable, if you ask me, but what can one do? One really needs to move on in order to deliver on campaign promises to the people. It is all about the people. After elections, there comes governance. Governance must not be compromised because there are expectations on the people. The people are really suffering. The people are suffering. The people are affected disproportionately when it comes to, dividends of democracy. And the single senator, President Sen.Ned Nwoko, is one who is in a hurry to deliver. Okay, since he came on board, you'll agree with me that he is being a firebrand, and so he will not allow partisan politics to undermine the ability to deliver promptly and above board on his campaign promises to the people. Yes, this defection is going to have tremendous impact on the state, and of course, it's reverberating everywhere. You'll agree with me. His supporters are equally defecting in droves because he has a barrage of supporters, not only in the Central District, but of course, a host of others, across the state and of course, across the country. It's a situation that is really avoided because at the time the single senator, President Nwoko, was inaugurated into the 10th Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, that was in June 2022 to be precise, you would agree with me that he was the only PDP senator in the whole of Delta State. The other two senatorial districts are controlled by APC, that's Delta Central and Delta South. Now, by reason of his defection to the APC, the implication is that the PDP in Delta State does not have a single senator. And by way of proportional representation, the implication of that is danger, really. It sends a very dangerous signal to the PDP in the states by way of proportional representation. And so his defection is, highly, impactful to the polity, as it were, because if you are very sensitive, to the political kaleidoscope in the states, you'll agree with me that if you gauge the temperature of the polity in the state with respect to this spirit of defection, you would come to the irresistible conclusion that it is quite high.